Hello and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host Bryan. We're going to wrap up today with a creator request, which is where a smaller band gets in contact with me and asks me to check out their work. Today's comes at us from Mentally Blind. It says, hello there. We're Mentally Blind, modern metalcore band straight from Poland. We've been following your content since quite some time and we really appreciate the effort you put into your work. Lately, we released the last music video from our debut album, and we're really curious about your opinion. We'd be grateful if you could record a reaction video for it. Best regards, Philip of Mentally Blind. Now, you may recognize the band name. I believe we have checked them out on Creator Request before, and I'm really interested to see what they've done since we last heard about them. So, let's dive into the track, Beyond Me.
Sometimes I lie awake, totally still, my eyes closed. I imagine for a moment that I finally see the end. In this dream,
Very
I see
theatric,
myself,
with the almost ambient guitar work and the field recordings against the spoken
the
word.
trees become more dense, and the forest fades away. I lose sight of myself. Each time I leave this place, there's a strange feeling, a never-ending wonder.
Yeah, coming in real hard with this genty metalcore stuff, the layered vocals. Yeah, I'm loving all those little drum breaks back there. Just really great control over groove, rhythmic ideas, syncopation, those breaks. And I guess this is the chorus. The guitar work between the verse and the chorus is very similar in tone and texture, even a little bit in the compositional direction. Oh man, I can feel that bass. Might be sub-bass tones actually. I really like that moment of levity before bringing us back down. Yeah, dude, the offbeat, like almost quiet snare hits coming in on the right hands. It's the second time we've heard them, and they're just, I love that idea. Really nice variation on the chorus here. Yeah, really neat idea. I think musically there's a little variation, but vocally, lead melody, we changed up that entire final chorus.
mentalshop.com.pl. Our music, merchandise, and more.
Very cool. I think that is the first time I've seen that at the end of a video, and maybe I've just not got around to it before, but I think it's a nice little touch. All right, so this track does a really great job of balancing the heavier and the more melodic sides that metalcore tends to do, but also pushing that balancing act just a little bit further and trying to balance more traditional elements with less traditional elements. And I find that to work exceptionally well in this track. It also searches to find a midpoint. I know it's like, Bryan, why are you always looking at this towing the line thing? But it's what I see in this. There's a third aspect I think they do a really great job of, walking this fine line on, which is balancing the repetition, the sonic repetition of the style of music they're playing within, with some more dynamic components to it. And so I think those are the three things I want to touch on primarily before we hit the lyrics. And I want to touch on that last one first because I think it's the most important part. One of the comments I made when we got back to the chorus after our first verse was that I didn't really notice the change in the instrumentation. It was really the vocals, and if the lyrics hadn't had been up there in the closed caption, I wouldn't have even noticed it then. Coming back into the chorus, the guitars are playing in the same range. They're playing a very similar style. The drums don't really change up much at all, and there wasn't a really big moment leading into it. Not a rising energy, not a falling energy. There's pretty much no musical change there, and that can definitely be used to great effect. I'm not ruling it out as a positive or a negative component of the composition yet, but it was one of the first moments that I noticed that a lot of this opening section, our chorus verse chorus, were musically identical. The riffs were a little different, the drum patterns were a little different, the vocals changed a little bit. You know, we have the clean vocals in the chorus, but a lot of the musicality is very similar, or at least it's based off the same ideas, just like I mentioned, different riffs, different patterns. And this is something that metalcore does. The guitarists like to stay in the fatter lower end, usually playing around up by the neck and on the lowest strings. They juxtapose this with almost everything in the bridge. First we had the lighter section with the the guitarists were playing the chords one string or one note at a time with these rising and falling ideas. The vocals were clean. It was just a very calming, soothing section as far as the instrumentation goes. And this is where we got to see a little bit more of the higher range playing out of the guitar. Following up on this, we had the really meaty atmospheric section with a lot of the lower tones that were juxtaposed with that one higher tone that brought us stepwise back down. I had pointed this section out. I really liked how this, the entire flow of this worked with this huge jump and then this steady fall. But also in the larger picture, it provides a bit of contrast in that for the first 2 minutes of the song, if we're excluding the spoken word intro, yeah, it's all kind of sitting all at this low end. Lots of foundational work here, and so it was really nice for this entire moment here to kind of juxtapose all that. We also have the vocals that change up too. The verse is really that one harsh style that the vocalist has, really leans into it heavily. But when we get to the chorus, we get it layered with the clean, we get some compressed cleans. Later in the track, we have more compressed cleans, we have regular cleans. There's a lot of juxtaposition between these two in that realm as well. Now, this song also does a fantastic job of pairing the more mainstream ideas in typical mainstream metalcore with some more interesting concepts as well, really going outside the realms of standard blueprint for writing and finding their own footing. First of all, we have a lengthy intro with spoken word over it. I'm curious if that's going to be on studio version or if that's just for the music video. Regardless, we start off the track proper with the chorus, which is just such a 2020s thing to do. I've talked about this a lot. A lot of singles coming out both inside of rock and metal and primarily even outside of it. Pop music loves to start with this, and it's, for good reason. It's the hook of the song. It's what you're going to get what you're going to get stuck in people's heads. And usually it's the catchiest part of the track as well. And, like it or not, attention spans are shrinking. Even movie trailers are starting with a little 10-second condensed snippet of the whole trailer before you get to watch the trailer proper. It's all about hooking you within those few seconds, and starting with the chorus is a great way to do that. Interestingly, the chorus is after 45 seconds or so of spoken word, not exactly for the same purpose as hooking a listener immediately. So I'm kind of curious why they started with that, though. That is why I mentioned that I'm curious if the spoken word intro is on the studio version or not. Because to me, it defeats the purpose of opening with your chorus, since you're going to have the chorus so many times anyways. So that's a question I have for Mentally Blind. But we go chorus, verse, chorus. I was expecting a second verse, and instead we go into a bridge. We go into our lighthearted section before going into our heavier bridge, before coming back into a slight modification of the chorus into another variation of the chorus that takes us out of the song. It is really interesting, and if my read on it is accurate, there's only one verse throughout the whole song, although we could probably read some of those bridge sections as unique verses as well. Do we have lyrics in the... We do. They don't break them up into verse or chorus, though. We have... Oh. We have the spoken word, and then we have a stanza for give or take what I thought was the chorus, and then half of a verse, and then the other half of that verse and the chorus, and everything else is in a very lengthy, like 30-line stanza by itself. So, yeah, I'm kind of curious now. I don't even know if I can call that a chorus, because we only do it twice. The variations are pretty distant variations on the chorus as well. They evoke similar feelings, but the lyrics are changed, the vocal delivery is changed. I mentioned I'm pretty sure the riffs are changed. Almost like not even a reimagining of what the chorus would be, which is very cool. I don't think we've ever discussed that on the channel before. Lastly, I just want to kind of give some praise for some of the instrumentation work in here. I love the vocal variety. I love the layering. That is something I will listen to all day long. Give me harshes and cleans together. Even at the very end, in our final revisiting or reimagination of the chorus, we had the vocals, the clean vocals deliver that line again, something like, I can't recognize something or another. And they finished the statement, but before they got to the end, the harsh vocals came in and they finished like the last three syllables first while the clean vocals were still holding on to something, and then they finished it. And it was just this really nice sort of call and response counterpoint concept between the two vocal styles. Just really great. We got separated layered vocals, we got harmonized layered vocals. I'm here for all of it. The drum work in here is disgusting. It is just so good. And the thing is, it's all super restrained, right? There's nothing in here that's really showing off, hey, look at me, I'm the drummer, I got all these chops, big old drum patterns or fills or anything like that. Most of it is really downplayed, but there's a lot of really cool things going on rhythmically, and I think more importantly, it really helped to see the drummer. Some really dexterous ideas of bouncing all around the kit with both hands. I couldn't see what was going on with the feet, but yeah, it just looked impressive and the sound was great. It's just added this nice melodic component, especially so frequently we would have the right hand over on cymbals and every once in a while come in for a couple of offbeat snare hits, like cymbal snare, cymbal hair snare. So the cymbals are on downbeats, snares on offbeats, but they were like ghost note snares. So it was almost like this hidden, semi-accented, but not really accented hit on the offbeats for, a couple of beats long. It's just so cool. I loved it. And it came up so many times. Just a neat little, I don't know, like a signature. I don't think I've heard any other drummer really lean into it this way. It's very neat. And the guitar work is all solid. There's a variety of riffs in here. But I think with this style of music, it's really more important to look at the sounds the instrument makes. Metalcore isn't really known for its riffs, at least this type of modern metalcore versus like the old metalcore. What is the melodic metalcore? No, that doesn't really. I don't know. Like metalcore is weird. Old metalcore and new metalcore sound nothing alike. We honestly need better genre names. Um, but it's very atmospheric based. It's very texture based. It's very sonic based. It's not really about what notes you hit in particular. It's about the sounds you're making. And I think the atmospheres here are really solid, whether it's the driving all lower end style of series of notes that we get in our opening verse, or some of the more atmospheric hanging on to single tones and really looking for specific note intervals that we heard in our bridge, whether it was the softer section or the heavier one with the double bass kicks. A lot of the guitar sections just worked really well. The bass sounds meaty, but kind of just falls in line with the guitars and drums, usually sitting underneath one or the other, either the bass kick or the guitars. And I would have liked to hear them do a little bit something different, but I understand it's just not the style of music. Um, you start adding that and you're in a different style, and maybe that's not the style they want to make. So it works for what it does. It creates a very punchy low end to help accentuate specific rhythms. It kind of works in a way of jazz band based. Maybe that's the way I should start looking at it. The only difference is like a walking bass line tends to also stand out aside from accentuating the rhythm. But I mean, it still kind of fills that same role. Maybe I should start looking at it that way. I'm going to hit some lyrics. So this track is about realizing that you're not the same person you once were and not recognizing the person in the mirror and having a bit of recollection. That's not the right word. Anyways, looking back at some of the things that you've done uh, in your life recently, whatever, and kind of taking a step back and thinking, that's not who I am. That's not what I should have done. And who is this person that's making all these decisions? I mean, the chorus pretty much states this clearly. I can't recognize this reflection behind the veil on my eyes, frightened of what might hide in the dark. The concept of looking at your reflection and just not knowing who they are. We go on to actually see a little bit more information to this. It says, I killed him and took what he had. A smile on his face faded and died. Betrayed him, stabbed in the back. This faithful child fell into the dark. And at first, I thought maybe this was something that he had done that made it difficult for him to see himself in the mirror. But I think in retrospect, after having listened to all the lyrics, this other person that he killed was actually himself, his old self. And so the next set of lyrics, which is like that 30-line stanza, is all about feeling lost, not knowing who I am, never being able to forgive myself, and being in a never ending nightmare, unable to wake up from it. Even at one point says, I've destroyed everything I used to be, so don't give up on me and take everything I've already done that was the best of me. So, I've given up myself. I've given up on myself. I don't know how to fix this, but don't give up on me, please, because I need some help getting out of here. And yeah, that's the whole track. I don't really see too many parallels between it and the music, but that's pretty typical for this genre. Usually just create sick, some sick riffs, some nice atmospheres, and you scream it out. And the lyrical themes don't typically align themselves with the musical ones, but there's probably some individual moments in here, like the reflective musical part where we kind of bring everything down and we switch to the individual notes, uh, detailing the chords on the guitar. Maybe some of those lines here, I'm trying to figure out where that might have been, but that might have been a very introspective part of the lyrics that would have lined up there. So maybe on the whole it doesn't reflect the lyrics, but individually, section to section, it might. And that's something I'd probably pick up on a second listen when I have the lyrics with me when I'm listening to the music. All right, so those are my thoughts on Mentally Blind's Beyond Me. Let me know what you thought of it, your opinions, your perspectives, everything else. Put it down in the comment section. Above that, in the description box, there's a link in there. Let me rephrase that. Normally, my link is in there, but instead we're going to have Mentally Blind's links. Their streaming platforms, their social media, their merch, their stores, all of that. If you enjoy what you listen to here, I'm going to make it real easy for you to find more of it. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Also, if you head over to any of their social medias or whatever, like, subscribe, favorite, thumbs up, show them some love. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.